Hello, this is an assessment in transit of a Welmar upright piano made in 1970, model A2, 110 centimetres tall. So it's been moved from A to B and coming via our workshop so we can assess it for the client and see what sort of work might improve the piano. Just zeroing in on the pedals first, we can see that looking at the right hand pedal, as you said in other videos, that shows how much wear the piano's had. Obviously in a modern piano you wouldn't notice too much. It's slightly shinier, so that shows that the piano has had some wear, and we'll have a look inside at the moment to see how much wear it's had. But the outside of the piano definitely is the worst for wear, so we have lost its polish here completely, and here is much faded compared to the original colour here, which is very beautiful veneer here, and really beautiful polish too, typical Welmar. To get that on this area would be really very difficult to match this in colour wise. You could possibly improve this. This is very worn, as you can see. If I zero in a bit, it's actually very rough, and that's the worst part really, that spillage there. That's the worst part of this front bit too. Now the rest of the piano isn't quite so bad. The keys are extremely dirty, by the way, and that's obviously just a matter of cleaning them. This side of the piano isn't terribly bad either, and the rest, the top lid, well, it's not nothing good really, but I think it might be possible to improve it. Obviously, to make a perfect job, I'd have to redo the whole piano. But that's expensive. So looking at the soundboard while we have the piano away from the wall, Welmar soundboards are, well, extremely well made, as being Welmar's, as you've seen on other videos, as one of our two favourite makes of English piano. There are other good makes, but there's a reasonable number of Welmar pianos in the UK, so we're able to select the ones we really like and then restore them and sell those. This side here is pretty good too, so it's a bit faded, but the worst is obviously, the front, and this isn't very good here either, and the front of the piano. So there's a lot of cosmetic work to do. These book holders have probably been added later on, and this desk is very rough. So it's going to be difficult to work on that without redoing the whole piano. If clients can afford to, we love to strip and repolish the whole piano. Now looking at the inside of the piano, by the way, the pitch is just under 440, so it needs pitch raising, and the octaves here, see that octave's not bad, but past the break point here, this octave has gone out of tune. It shows a varying humidity usually causes that, and those octaves around there particularly, and as we get down further, it's not so bad. So around this area, if that's different from there, then it shows the humidity is varied, but obviously it hasn't dried out excessively since it was last tuned, because it's only slightly flat. If it was much flatter, that would indicate dryness. So we have a Celestra here, which is operated by hand. If we have a look here, there's a lever. You push that in, and then the Celestra goes down. I want to keep this video brief, so basically the rest of the action is good, typically good Welmar piano, extremely well made, and if we look at the hammers here, look at the wear on them. I'm sorry, because the Celesta's in the way, I can't really get to the end very easily, but there represents, as it made in 1970, I'd say maybe the first 10 years. If it was played an hour a day, that's about the amount of wear it's had. And the regulation, again, being such a well-made piano, the regulation hasn't gone out, hardly gone out. There's no lost motion. That's encouraging as well. So mechanically it's good. Listening to the tone, beautiful singing tone, mellow singing, bright when you want it to be. So that's just a tonal, I'd say, defect, if you like. Perhaps that would have been better to have been copper wound strings there, because there's a huge difference in tone. Those two, in fact. But otherwise, tonally really well made and very rich bass. Beautifully warm there. For the size of the piano, that's an excellent bass. Sorry, I meant to say as well, a bit of the W is missing here. Unfortunately, if we try to replace that, I mean, could try and... No, it's going to be difficult to disguise that at all. We replaced the whole, had to replace the whole name because if we just replace the W, it's not going to match colour-wise with the rest of the name. So that's an assessment in transit of a Welmar upright piano. Good quality piano. It's a make that we're always looking out for, and we obviously want to choose the ones that aren't very worn and are our favourite models. So this is a good model of piano. Cosmetically is very much the worse for wear, unfortunately, and I shall ask my polisher about this, but I think it's very likely to say that he can't really do a good job without redoing the whole piano, so we'll have to find out a way of doing that inexpensively. It's worth it on a Welmar. They're quite valuable pianos when they're in very good condition. That's because of their beautiful tone round here. And by the way, the touch on this piano is just under 50 grams and a little bit uneven, but generally not too uneven. The octaves here are badly out, so it's obviously suffered from changes of humidity, but as long as it's not dried out too much in a domestic environment, it should be fine for 30 or 40 years to come. And there are other things that we could do. A little bit of refacing would, if it was our piano, we would obviously do quite a bit more to perfect it. So just evening up the tone a bit. There's a variety of, some hammers are brighter than others. Generally, I'm very encouraged by the sound of the piano. Very warm indeed, right down to the bottom bass. So it's the kind of piano you really want to play, except the keys are extremely dirty and don't feel very nice at the moment. Good range of expression on it as well. Thank you very much for listening.